I got asked to do a deep dive on my philosophy. So here it is. Free will, choose love. It is one core principle, one core idea, which is that you have free will and believe that you have free will. And the reason that it's one core idea is that the two go together. The fact that you have free will and believe that you have free will. Just having free will does not mean that you should believe that you have free will. And just being told to believe that you have free will does not mean that you actually have free will. They both go together, and that's really, really important to me. I'd never separate the two. You have free will and believe that you have free will. A core principle. This also means that this means that when someone says to you, believe that you have free will, you still have free will, and so you do not have to do it. And when you choose to believe that you have free will, because you actually do have free will, it is your choice to believe in it. That is actually all that the philosophy is. But then there's so much around it that adds meaning to it that I want to explain in this video to you today. So, the most valuable thing is that free will, when you think about it, is the most beautiful thought that you can have. What would it be like for you to have free will? Right now, in this moment, what would it be like for you to have free will? It would be awesome. Like if you are in control of what you do, you decide what you do. It is literally the most beautiful thought you can have. All of the ache and the struggle and the pain and all of this, you know what I'm saying? Do you know the feeling? All of that? Yeah. All of that is the thought that you don't have a choice. Consequences are real, right? That will never ever change, obviously. But free will is all that you need. The consequences don't matter if you know that it's your choice to do what you're doing. If you make the consequences mean that you have no choice, then it really starts to suck. But when you're like, I could choose to go speeding and get a speeding ticket, or I could choose to not speed and not get a speeding ticket. But I have both options. I'm choosing to go slow, I'm choosing to go slow. I'm going to come back to this later as well, this example of going to school. I could not go to school and experience the consequences, or I could choose to go to school. But when I go to school, it's my choice to do so. And if you know that, that changes everything. And in many situations, it's really, really hard to believe that you have free will. But in every possible situation, in every imaginable situation, it is possible for you, if you want to do so. If you're stuck, you feel miserable, remember the most beautiful thought, which is that you have free will. So for me, all of this started when I was at school. I was about 15, and my parents gave me the clear choice very clear choice to not go to school. Like, I can go to school or I can be homeschooled. It's completely up to me. And I decided to go to school, and that's where that was amazing for me. Because I was at school in Scotland, regular old school. I mean, it was quite a fun school to be at, but it was just like any other school in Scotland. You're there. I went to the school, and the massive, amazing experience that I had was being there, knowing that it was my choice. Because everybody else there, literally everybody else, you could even include the teachers, right? Everybody else there thought that they had to be there. Nobody likes school. The teachers don't particularly like it, and the students don't like it, because the teachers, they hate forcing people to do things, and the students, the kids, they hate having to do things, right? Everybody hates it. I was the only person there, knowing that it was my choice to be there, because I knew at any point I could choose to be homeschooled. Any point. And for me, it was about socializing. I was like, I don't really care about being good at school. I just want to be there because I want to be with people. I like being with people. But seeing that was what really created the seeds for this clear picture in my mind that I was going to the school every day. And I was happy, I was optimistic. I was super average in terms of my grades. But people liked me, the teachers liked me, just because I chose to be there. Literally, there were plenty of subjects where I was amongst the worst people in the subject. But the teachers were like, you're cool, we like you, because something about me was just different. The only thing that was different was that I thought, or I knew, it was my choice to be there. There were teachers that gave me like homework over the holidays. And I would say, I'm not going to do the homework over the holidays. I would say it even in advance. And then I would go to school after 2 weeks holidays. Because that was one of my policies, was not doing homework over the holidays. I want to have my time off. I would come back to school after the holidays, say to a teacher, I didn't do the homework, just straight up. And you'd be like, okay, and move on to the next person. It's so strange when you believe that it's your choice to do something, how different people treat you and how different your experience is from the people around you. There was a test, really kind of important test for most people. I went there, I hadn't even prepared at all for it. And I was just happy to go into the test, like excited to see what the experience was going to be like. And the people around me were looking at me like I'm crazy. Like they were also stressed, like my classmates. They were like, what? Why the hell are you happy? Like literally, like, what's wrong with you? Kind of thing. I was just like, it's a test. I'm not here for the test. I don't really care about the result. I'm here to socialize. And the epic thing though for me actually was seeing that everybody around me was doing exactly the same things as I was doing, but believing that they had to, that they had no choice. And I was doing exactly the same thing as they were doing, but believing that it was my choice. And I had an awesome time. And they really didn't. I mean, there's always ups and downs, but generally speaking, for me the experience was completely different than it was for everybody else. And the only difference was, I believed that it was my choice. So you can see for everybody else there, they too could have believed that it was their choice to be there. But they didn't. That's what I found interesting. And that's how it all began. So when it comes to spirituality, spirituality is something that's built on right and wrong. You could almost say spirituality is the idea of telling people what is right and wrong. Right? Spirituality is about this is good, this is bad. This is what we should be focusing on. We love we absolutely love the idea of having clear rules of what is right and wrong, and then knowing if we do what's right, we will be good, and everything will be okay. It's complete bullshit. It doesn't exist. Spirituality, you could just say, doesn't exist. It's not a thing. This idea of doing the right thing is bullshit. Things like, we love having this idea of, I'm going to follow this plan, and then this and this and this will happen, and eventually I'll be happy. Right? I'll do this motivational thing of getting up every morning. I'll meditate every day. I'll do yoga every day. I'll go running every day. I'll go swimming every day. Whatever it is. That'll fix me. No. There is no right and wrong. Spirituality gets this wrong. Spirituality is based on fear. It's based on the fear of doing something wrong. You can't do anything wrong. You have free will. We dive into spirituality out of the fear of doing something wrong and this huge desire to do everything right. And we're like looking for this formula, and then oftentimes we convince ourselves that we have found the person who has the formula. This one like spiritual coach, guru or whatever, who knows exactly what the right thing to do is. But inevitably, if you go down the road of believing you have to do everything right, you don't have a choice. It's gonna suck. For you. And that's what I'm here to change. You don't have to do anything because you have free will. And if you want to, you can believe in it. But this is the thing that we like to do, is we like to know what is right and wrong, and there is no formula. There is no formula. There's love and fear, they are real, and we can choose between them. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. But there's no right and wrong. Fear is okay and love is okay. There's just choices that we make. So what does this philosophy of free will have to do with love? Well, I already told you, like in school, it felt awesome to believe that I have free will. The reason it felt awesome is because believing that you have free will is loving. That's why it felt awesome. Because when you're afraid of something, the core thing that happens in your being is you tell yourself you don't have a choice. If you're afraid of a tiger, what you do is you tell yourself you do not have a choice. You now have to run away from the tiger as fast as you can. My philosophy would be to say, you're looking at this tiger. Now either, if I wanted to, I could experience the pain of believing that I have no choice and I have to run away, which sucks. Or I could choose to believe that I have free will, that I have the option of staying with this tiger, or dealing with the consequences, or running away and dealing with those consequences. Being aware of the choice, and then doing whatever I want to do. When you're afraid of bad grades, right, you feel like you have to do well in school. That sucks. That pressure is miserable. Believing that you have free will completely lifts that, but it doesn't determine what you'll do. If you believe that it's your choice to work really hard for grades, you still might work really hard for grades, but the only difference would be that you'll believe that it's your choice to do it. That's why the way that free will and love relate is that it's only about the belief and not about what you do. We think it is so important what we do, right? And that's why we're like, we have to get everything right, we have to do these things wrong, and then we're like, it's so convinced in ourselves that what we are doing and the path that we have chosen is the right one, even though if it's all about the path that we've done something completely wrong, because it's not about what we do, it's about the way that we do it. Do we do it understanding, knowing that it's our choice to do it? Or do we do it understanding, thinking, believing, under the illusion that we have no choice, that we have to do it? For example, working really hard for your grades. You can do it out of fear, believing that you have to have good grades, which sucks. You could also work really hard on your grades, knowing that it's your choice to do it, because it doesn't matter. You could also choose to have bad grades and deal with the consequences. You can also just not work at all for grades, knowing that you have free will. Or you can do something completely different. You can also not give a shit about your grades and ignore them completely and not work on them at all, because you think that you have to be a bad boy. You think that you have to be cool, and you can't have good grades because otherwise you wouldn't be cool, right? So you can do it because you think that you have to be cool, and that too would suck. The thing that actually changes your experience completely is whether you're aware of, understand that it's your choice to do whatever it is that you're doing. That is what changes everything. I want to give you another example. Yeah, I like driving with the car. You can be speeding because you feel like you have to, because you have to get to work so fast. You don't have a choice, and that it sucks for you to be speeding and you hate it. You can also be speeding knowing that it's your choice to speed, because you know that it's your choice whether you face the consequences of being late to work or whether you face the consequences of speeding. It's your choice. You can do both. People feel like, no, I don't have a choice. You do have a choice. You might tell yourself that you don't, and you might be terrified of what happens when you believe that you have a choice. Regardless of all of that, you have a choice. Speeding as well. You could be going the speed limit because you think that you have to, because you can't possibly get a speeding ticket. That would be terrible. Or you can go the speed limit, knowing that it's your choice, knowing that if you wanted to, you could also be speeding really hard and face the consequences. In one situation, you're under stress, you're under pressure, you feel like you're having to do everything correctly, and in the other situation, you're just you, doing what you would do. So, there's more I want to talk about. So free will and believing in free will is all about love, right? Importantly, there's these 2 points. You have free will and believe that you have free will. Meaning, regardless whether or not you believe that you have free will, you have it. Why does it matter? Why would anyone want to believe that they don't have free will if it sucks so much? The answer is it's interesting. If you have free will and you know that and it's guaranteed for you, it is interesting to experiment with what would it actually be like to believe that I don't have free will. What is the experience like of being afraid? Right? Believing that you have free will is choosing love. Believing that you don't have free will is choosing fear. That is under your control because you have free will. Right? But when you believe that you don't have free will, you don't think it's under your control, even though it is, because you think that you don't have free will, even though you do. It's two parts. You have free will and believe that you have free will. Free will, choose love. So after school, time passes, had a good time, and went to Spain for a while, and then I got back and I thought to myself, I now know and understand, believing that I have free will feels epic, it's really great. I am really quite sure, I'm actually 100% sure that I have free will. So, because I'm so sure that I have free will, I'm just going to experiment and see what it's like to believe that I don't. I chose fear. I intentionally decided to believe that it's not my choice to do what I'm doing. There is this thing that happens when you've been choosing love for a while and you're like believing that everything you do is your choice to do, where your life just becomes epic and fun and feels amazing, and it becomes impossible for people to believe that it's your choice to do what you're doing. If your life is beautiful and you're loving, right, you're in the flow of love, and you're going around people and yourself, you start to think that this is so awesome, I have to do it because it's so awesome. And the opposite would be so miserable that I couldn't possibly do it. The thing though is, it is your choice to choose love. You don't have to choose love. So in order to prove that to myself, that I don't have to choose love, that it's my choice to choose love when I choose love, I decided to choose fear, consciously. And that's what I did to prove to myself that I have free will. And one of the core things about this is that that is something that you only do for yourself. Because you know for yourself, okay, I have free will. So if I choose to believe that I don't, the consequences are just an experience. They're not real. I will still have free will throughout the whole experience of believing that I don't, but I'll experience believing that I don't, and then afterwards, I'll be able to really experience what it's like to have free will, knowing that I have already experienced the opposite. You have free will. So regardless of whether or not you believe in it now, eventually you will realize that you do. And so if you want to, you can choose to believe that you have free will, or you can choose to believe that you don't. Arguably, love is the love, in spirituality it's all about right and wrong. If spirituality was true, if spirituality was right about something, what spirituality would say is the most right thing to do, it would say is love, and the most wrong thing to do is fear. Spirituality would tell you, you have to love, you can't fear. I would tell you, that's bullshit. I've done both. You don't have to love. It's your choice to love when you do. You don't have to fear. It's your choice to do when you do. You have free will. But because because spirituality and the whole of experience is like, if this idea of right and wrong were true, then the most right thing would be to love, and the most wrong thing would be to fear. So the best way to disprove it is to choose to do with your free will the one thing that the universe and people in spirituality would say is almost impossible to choose to do. That is to choose fear. People might think that the most difficult thing to choose with your free will is, I don't know, jumping off a cliff or something. It's not. The most difficult thing to choose to do with your free will is emotional. The most difficult thing to do with your free will is to choose fear. And I did, to prove to myself that it's real. Not just to prove to myself that it's real, but actually, I did it because I believed so strongly that it was real, that I have free will. Because I could not have chosen to believe that I don't have free will if I did not 100% believe that I did. Because the threat of choosing fear would be so big otherwise. Here I am, having chosen fear, ready to choose love again, knowing with all of my experience that free will is real, ready to teach it to everybody. You doubt that you have free will, right? There's always going to be part of you that doubts that you have free will until you've gotten to the point of having chosen fear. Once you've done that, you're kind of like, whatever it is that you're doing, you know that you can choose the opposite because you know that you've already once chosen even fear. And that then disproves all of spirituality, all of these concepts of right and wrong. It disproves the idea that you have to love. And it brings forth the beautiful truth, which is that to love is a choice, and it's your choice, and you do it for you. From free will, nothing else. Just for free will. Free will is real, you have a choice, you don't have to do anything, trust me. Free will is real, you have a choice. You don't have to do anything, trust me. When you believe in free will, it's epic fun for the people around you. Why? Because the people around you cannot be a threat to you. The people around you, if you love, the people around you are just there, and you can do things with them without them feeling threatened of you because you're not threatened by them. It's one of the easiest, simplest things. If you are being attacked by someone, no. If you are afraid of wasps, right? The worst thing to do when a wasp comes is to be afraid of it, right? You almost know it's going to come and find you and sting you if you're afraid of wasps. The best thing to do is not to be afraid of wasps. And then the wasp is like chilling and you're both happy. It's the same for people. With the police, right? The best way to guarantee a really shitty experience with the police is to be afraid of the police. The police will sense it, you'll sense it, and you'll just end up clashing each other. Right? And it's the same for, I don't know, flying. The best way to have a really shitty experience flying is to be afraid of flying. It's the same for everything. So when you love, when you're not afraid of people around you, it's an epic experience for the people around you. And they have an epic experience with you because you're not afraid of them. Also, when we choose love, when we choose to believe that it's our choice what we do, our capacity to understand grows exponentially. What I mean by that is, when we see other people doing shitty things, like stupid things, when you believe that it's your choice what you do, you see and you can understand where it's coming from. You can understand what beliefs are behind it or what pain is behind it. And instead of you personally feeling threatened by it, because you can't feel threatened by it, because you know that it's your choice what you do. They cannot take your free will away. Nobody can. They cannot even influence whether or not you see your power, the fact that you have free will. So they cannot possibly threaten you. So then you have so much capacity to just understand where they're coming from and what they actually need, and to treat them like that, objectively, rather than treating them in a way to fix them so they don't scare you anymore, so they're not scary for you anymore. I think that's a big thing in all of the mental health field, is people trying to fix people into a state where they don't scare them anymore, rather than actually being aware that this person's not a threat to you, and seeing and understanding what they actually need. Why is it that when you believe that you have free will, that you don't attack everybody around you, and that you're not a huge threat to the people around you? Because all of the shitty things that each and every one of us does to other people is what we do to other people when we believe that they are a threat to us. We'd never do those things if we didn't believe that they were a threat to us. And when I believe that I have free will, I cannot simultaneously believe that anybody else is a threat to me. So why with my free will would I then go around attacking people? There could be random situations like, I don't know, some random situations where I still might do that, but it's very unusual, very rare. And it would not come from a point of fear, it would come from a point of protecting something or something like that, right? But doing it because it's my choice. All of the extreme hurt that we cause each other all comes from the fear of each other, which is lifted the second that we understand that we're in control of our actions, that it's my choice what I do, that I have free will. Because there's no more beautiful thought. There's nothing greater than that. If I have free will, well, I am the king of my world. I'm the king of the universe. Nothing else can hurt me. I can still experience being hurt. I can still experience fear. But I'm aware of the deep underlying truth, which is that I have free will. And I think that truth is the thing that most closely connects us to the reality, which is that on some level, you and I, we are inseparable from the rest of the universe. We are all one. So, this was a big video today. Took some time setting it up, planning it. I hope you liked it. And yeah, more coming. Just more of this kind of stuff coming your way. I'm Daniel Lee. Talk to you soon.